Well, the beautiful thing about real estate is that out of nowhere, your phone rings and someone says, hey, I want to list or buy a house. And then all of a sudden, 30, 60, 90 days later, you make a check. But sometimes those checks are really, really big. Greetings, Signature Studio Spotlight Series. This is the ball guy in the red tie, John Butler, and the world famous, the Queen Supreme of Signature, Miss Susan Ebert. How are you, Susan?
I'm good in between my bad choices. How are you, John?
I try not to make bad choices.
I
only
do
make
too.
good choices.
Ooh, good.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully you can reverse that, huh? Well, we have somebody very special in the studio today who made a very large check. Probably one of the bigger ones that I've heard of and seen.
Yeah.
We have Mr. Shane Gonzales. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me.
Go, Shane! What up, Shane?
What's going on, guys?
Well, welcome to the Spotlight, where we put the light on somebody that's oh so bright, and that would be you today, sir.
Very cool.
So a little birdie told me on Facebook that you recently joined the office.
Yes.
And you had a closing. How about you walk us through the rest of that story?
Yeah, so I did have one of my biggest closings in my career in the last week or two. I was fortunate enough to represent both sides of the transaction, so that's kind of what helped me out there. And yeah, I just want me to jump into the story of it.
Yeah, how did it all start?
Yeah.
Don't tell the number yet.
Yeah, no, I won't tell the number.
So we'll save that for the suspense.
The funny thing about this house was I've been working on it for probably almost 3 years. No, I would say about two and a half. Mm-hmm. And it stemmed from just kind of a stroke of luck at my first brokerage meeting. This seller was a listing that was going to come up. That brokerages was in Newport. So this listing was in La Cresta. And they didn't really have anyone to work on it. And it just so happened that I'm from Temecula, so my name came up. And I was probably 3 months as a new agent and never had a listing, nothing. So I got the call about this, and at the time it was like 3.75. And I was just like, yes, I'll jump on this 100%, all the while thinking I have no idea how I'm going to do this. So they throw me on there. I go to the listing appointment. I'm just scared as can be. I've never been on a listing appointment, and I didn't even really have to say anything, but I was still super nervous. And we finish it up. She agrees to list with us. They tell her this kid is going to be doing all the showings and being the co-list and all this stuff. And she goes, oh, that's great. We got along fairly well. I didn't know what I was doing, but I pulled it off, I guess. I don't know. And so go home, and for about 6 months, we worked on this listing, and we never really got traction on it. For the area, I would say it was probably overpriced now looking back, and now that I know what I'm kind of doing. But no, I was not going to by any means tell them that it was overpriced, especially them just bringing me on. So I was like, I just rode the wave. So it ended up expiring. I ended up leaving that brokerage, and it kind of was just in no man's land, that listing. Sure. I had been following it. I couldn't really reach out because it was relisted with them. So one day I get a call from her. She had my number still, and it had been expired again from them for about 7 months. And she reached out and said, hey, Shane, when you left, she was like, that listing went horribly wrong. The agents just did a horrible job. It was miserable. I didn't even want to relist. And then me and my son, remembered how good of a job you did, and we wanted to see if you'd want to list the house. And I was like, yeah, that would be fantastic. I've been looking at it all this time, didn't want to reach out because I didn't want to step on anyone's toes, but that would be amazing, and I would love it. And so that's kind of how I got the listing back and brought me to this point. So